Joining me now from Moscow is Dmitry Babich. He's a journalist and a Russian political analyst. Dmitry, shock and indignation, as we pointed out, being expressed around the world over what happened. Can you describe your reaction when you first heard of this, and what's been the reaction there in Moscow?
Well, my reaction was, of course, extreme sadness and anger, and from the very beginning, I would like to beg your pardon and the pardon of other people in the West in case our reaction sometimes may express itself in conspiracy theories or in calls for revenge. You know, it is natural in such a situation. Just let's remember how the Americans reacted to 9/11. We are in roughly the same situation right now. People are angry, people are sad about what happened, but certainly there is a certain positive side to it. The fact that all 11 perpetrators were arrested just less than a day after they committed this heinous crime, that is a good result. That is something we didn't have just recently when Moscow suffered several huge terrorist acts with hostage taking, and very few perpetrators were arrested. Most of them were killed. But again, for me, it was just like yesterday. But obviously, for young people, 2004 or 2006 is ancient history. Yes, there are all kinds of reactions. Some people are just sad about what happened, and they call on others to refrain from accusations at this moment. But there are, of course, questions. Why were the terrorists fleeing towards Ukraine? Did they hope to hide in Ukraine? And if so, who helped them behind the border? Could it be some Western special services? You hear such suspicions here. Of course, it all needs to be checked. But as I told you, in this emotional condition, I think people can be excused for sometimes not being quite politically correct or polite in their statements.
Dmitry, as you pointed out, President Putin says the gunmen have been detained, 11 perpetrators, as you pointed out, now in custody. What more do we know about the investigation and these suspects?
Well, we know that most of them were from Tajikistan. None of them is a Russian citizen. They're all Muslims from post-Soviet republics, mostly from Central Asia, as far as I could understand. But this could be one of the reasons why the masterminds of this terrorist act chose these people, because Russia, just like the United States, has problem with illegal migrants. But our migrants don't come from Mexico or El Salvador. They come from the Muslim world. They come from the former Soviet republics of Central Asia, which are experiencing a sort of a demographic boom. But there is a lack of water. There are not enough jobs available. So development there is uneven, I would say. It's still better. I think it's better than in the Soviet times. But the development is uneven, and the demographic growth is just astounding. You know, Uzbekistan used to be 20 million people at the end of the Soviet Union. Now it's 34 million people. So obviously the perpetrators, you know, the masterminds of this terrorist act, they could hope to ignite the anti-migrant Islamophobic spirit in Russian society. I hope they will not achieve that aim. It's my observation. I may be wrong, but to my mind, Islamophobia is on decline in Russia since the beginning of the war in Ukraine, which in fact started in 2014, because Russians see what people indistinguishable from us, you know, our brothers Slavs, Ukrainians, what they were capable of doing. So when Russians look at that, they tend to excuse maybe some misdemeanors of people who don't look like us and who believe to a Muslim civilization. But of course, I think this is one of the aims of this terrorist act, to ignite hatred for the people from, for the migrants, basically.
And Dmitry, give us an idea of what this concert hall is like. I mean, the thought that people would go for a concert, obviously excited about an evening, and then this terror erupting there. And also, if you would, give us your thoughts about tomorrow, which is a national day of mourning there in Russia.
Well, it used to be a very trendy, I would say, luxurious kind of venue. It was owned by rich people from Azerbaijan, the oil-rich former Soviet Republic in Transcaucasus. So it was a very trendy place. And it's very unfortunate that the terrorists chose this particular rock concert, because the group which people were going to listen to, it was not, you know, there are some crude nationalists in Russian rock. This was the opposite of it. It was a very intellectual, I would say intelligent rock band from St. Petersburg called Picnic. So the terrorists, if they wanted to kill intellectuals, if they wanted to kill people with good taste, unfortunately, they made the right choice. What is very, very sad is that since the terrorist attack against Moscow theater in 2004, the so-called Nordost hostage taking, all theaters in Russia check the bags and the belongings of the visitors. That's a norm. This is a rule. So how did these people manage to get into this hall? How did they get past the guards? That has to be explained. Maybe they failed to do it before the election because security was very tight in the days before the election and during the 3 days of voting. But after the vote, in which, as you know, President Putin won with a landslide, people kind of relaxed. And it became easier, obviously, for the terrorists to penetrate this trendy concert hall.
Dmitry, thank you so much for your insights and analysis there. Appreciate it.